Well, I'm sure he'll pop up eventually, but I'm pretty sure he marked that it's okay on the sheet. Most people do, so just make sure whatever song I'm playing is not copyrighted. Okay. I think that this is like generally a pretty bad mishit confirm since it's a counter hit here. This should lead into something for sure. Whoops. Browser freaking out. Just checking cancel options real quick. Yeah, there'd be no reason that this can't be, unless their like raging strike is like exceptionally small and it won't reach there, but I don't think that that's the case. I don't believe that to be true, so I would assume that you could hit confirm this here, and sometimes it is just a better thing to do because you don't really care about the damage scaling in this case, or maybe even like a Setsuna, like a you Setsuna hit confirm here. I don't know if it's fast enough for that. I'm just like thinking like there should have been more here. Yeah, because you're in Setsuna stance, so yeah, perhaps. I assume you can far HE Setsuna. That sounds like it would work, but I'm not 100% on that. U Transient was on cooldown, so yeah, definitely don't want that. 14 startup. Yeah, on a cancel, I feel like that would work, but and the issue with like kind of resetting, like the H happens, and it's like, okay, well now you have to do the same thing that you've not like made your game state any better really, because they're not flush the corner, so they actually have room to go backwards, they have room to go forward, they have time to check this even if they're like really a heads up player, and I think like as time goes on and you fight better and better players, they will be more aware of like, oh, this is not a combo, so I'm gonna be ready just in case there's some type of fake reset or something. It's a really important part of like playing defense in this game, so would like to see a hit confirm there on a, like, it's a counter hit confirm, so in my eyes there's no excuse, you should just be hitting those. So, you do close H. I believe that, yeah, it's close H in Kagra, which is like only -2, but like it is still minus. So I would be careful, especially because you're far, right? So like you do close H, no cancel, right? And then you do an entire dash forward afterwards, like this is plus. You want to be really careful about that, just like on an autopilot, because this obviously, like I said, it is minus. So and Gran has large enough buttons to just completely clear you for doing that. Like, oh, you did close H, I notice there's no cancel, I'm just gonna press far H, and you just ran into that. You don't have time to get out of 6XL after being, -2. So do be wary. I'm noticing a lot of your approaches post 6XL are usually the same thing. It's usually 2M, and you're not being mindful of your distance, and you're not even like paying attention to did I make contact or not, because this situation happens where you 6XL and you 2M and you miss, and you still autopilot into far H. This is a lot of time for your opponent to respond, right? This is a lot of time, and under normal circumstances against strong players, you will just straight up get counter hit in this situation. So I want you to be more lucid and realize like, oh, I either made contact or I didn't, and then kind of, because you didn't have to press this far H afterwards, right? It's like fine if you make contact, but if you don't, then that's a lot of frames for your opponent to do something about it, and they will. And you press on the first. This is like the first time they've gotten any type of blocks thing. You press on +4. Okay, all right. All right. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, on start 6XM. Yep, pressing on +4 again. So that's back to back. You did it last time, you got away with it. This time you do it again. That makes me feel like you're not respecting your opponent's plus frames at all. And I think like establishing the threat of challenge is important, but the risk reward associated with it is pretty skewed depending on what button your opponent is pressing. Like if your opponent is +1 or +2, sometimes establishing challenge threat is like worth. On +4, it becomes really hard to justify because the amount of punishment that you take for being wrong, right? Like you press 5L, he presses close H. Like your reward is you'd get auto combo into like a knockdown at best. You don't even have meter to like take it really far. You'd maybe have to spend Raging Strike, Raging Chain to like get something like even remotely good in terms of corner carry, and even then you're spending resource. And their reward is a close H, and he's Gran. Like this character hurts a lot, so I don't think that that's the button you want to be. I don't think that's the one you want to be establishing a challenge threat on, because now you're cornered, right? Like you just won neutral for free, like essentially. Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck? Striker throw. Okay, we choose the DP. Jump. Yep. So you need to realize that like one of the hardest things I think for people in fighting games is realizing that once you've made a big mistake, then the right answer is to concede the turn, right? So many fighting game players do something and it doesn't work out the way that they envisioned, like maybe button whiffs, maybe the spacing was incorrect, this or that. And instead of saying, okay, well, I missed out on that opportunity, I'm now going to play defense to make sure I don't take a big hit, they will chase that hit instead. They try to get back that advantage that they feel like they missed out on, right? And that's an important trap to not fall into, because a lot of the time you will create the opportunity for your opponent to land that big opening by chasing advantage that's no longer there, right? So for this particular example, we're pressuring with Setsuna, right? We're pushed back pretty far. You decide, hey, I'm going to switch it up and try to do you Setsuna instead. And new challenger jumps, which is a good jump. Now, important to note that he did not press a button, right? He probably could have pressed a button. I don't know if it would have made contact. It is pretty far on this jump in. But either way, regardless, right? Since he didn't press a button, after you recover from Setsuna, because you're still in recovery even after landing, right? That's important to note. This jump in happens, you're still in recovery, you're still in recovery, you're still in recovery, you're still in recovery, you're going back to idle. Yep. Okay, now you press, right? You're in recovery here, right? Returning to idle, and you press here. And your opponent had already let the far H rock, right? he was already starting his far H because he got a clean jump over Setsuna. And so like this is a case of after the Setsuna whiffs, you should have been like, okay, I've whiffed. Now I'm going to be forced to block, or I'm going to be forced to give up a turn because you were wrong in neutral, right? That's your punishment for being wrong in neutral. You didn't take a direct punish in this case, but you're going to have to concede some type of advantage. You try to get that advantage back by mashing out a far H after the Setsuna whiffs, and you take a counter hit as a result, right? Whereas you would have been able to block and not take this hit otherwise. That's what I mean by chasing advantage that's no longer there. Sometimes the best option is to just give up the turn, especially if you're in strict disadvantage after the situation ends. Okay, Link Super, is this death? No, okay. Okay. So I'm also noticing when you choose to do like sunset flip, like what you do mostly off of the same button, you got to be a little bit careful about being predictable, because the further you are when this starts, the like I said, like they kind of have more time to do something about this. I don't think new challengers showed the counterplay of like air throwing or anything like that just yet, but you'll fight people that do, and you give them more time to respond the further you are whenever you start that. And like it just by nature, it takes more frames to get there than otherwise. So this is okay, guaranteed. Yeah, that's tough. You did a little bit of a walk of shame. Now, important to note how long new challenger runs forward before starting his jump. That means he loses some frames on this advantage, right? So you do want to be ready for that, just in case, because like, yeah, you always want to pay attention to the takeoff, even whenever it's like BC counter hit. Overwhelming majority of the time, it will be meaty and it will be something real, but you never know. Like people like to do RPS options a good amount. Okay, we take a turn. I think honestly, like I don't know about this, but you might have not. I don't know. I feel like EX. Like I think you kind of know that you're close to corner here, because this pillar on this stage, this stage of the tell, like when you're close to corner, I think you like know that you would actually make it there. At least on the second, that one right there. Like I think you know. Try again. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I might go for it in that case, or like U-skill. Like U-skill would like definitely give you the combo there, right? And like one good conversion is gonna be like even better than like 3 straight hit conversions that you got there, right? Like you didn't get that much, like like you got damage, right? Like look how many hits. Right. And this is what I mean by like stop focusing on, like sometimes again, like you can get button into special on a combo, and that's like, it's like okay, but like what would be better is for you to hit confirm into something more meaningful, whether that be an EX for the corner carry, or whether that be Raging Strike, Raging Chain. Again, like please use Raging Strike, Raging Chain to further your advantage, especially in the early game when you have 3 crystals. It's okay to use it as a resource to solidify that advantage. And you're playing Narmaya. You don't want to be playing extended neutral game against a lot of characters. You want to get in and you want to play offense, right? And the way that you're going to get in and play offense is if whenever you do get these stray hits, you're actually converting them into corner carry, into knockdown, so that you can actually press that advantage. The more times you have to hit your opponent, the worse off you are. Yeah, super dead. You're just wrong on DP. I think they dropped this, right? Yeah. Yeah, you got fortunate. You should have died there. And I noticed like when you're like, especially like when you're 1 hit away from dying, you tend to mash a lot actually. Like this knockdown is like, I would say that this is the really bad mash, honestly. There's like so many ways to die here. But you do it anyway. And again, that autopilot thing where you're not confirming if you whiff or not. This is a whiff again, right? New challenger was playing a little bit too timid, but like if he presses any button here, you're dead, right? Okay. Yeah, it's pretty fortunate round for you there. That definitely should not have happened. It'd be like that. Okay. This is fine. Again, right? With 6XL, mash button. See what I'm saying? You're too autopilot-y. You're way too autopilot-y. Like you're in your mind, you're like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. You're not paying attention to like what's actually going on, right? Oh, you got mixed. You thought it was a cross-up. Okay, next team. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, that's funny. And now you're starting to get checked on some of that. Like, see, you're like kind of trying to mash out a button in this situation. Get hit by fireball. You Setsuna, trying to force your way in. Yeah, that same timing again, right? Same situation. Brave counter happens. This is plus 21. He runs up. He's actually close enough this time. And you press at that same timing, you counter hit, right? Plus 21's a lot. That's all I'll say on the topic. He's like trying to up back, get counter hit again, right? Like you're panicking. Like this feels very panicked on your part. Try to up back, it doesn't work. Try to press a button, get counter hit. Still trapped in the corner. With Raging Strike, you press a button that doesn't reach. You're like, okay, let's go into 6XL. You choose to not take advantage. You could have just blocked. Again, Gran is not, he's not like mixing you, right? Like this is not a character that not like super fucked up mix up. Obviously he has strike throw. But like he's not doing anything to you that's like, oh my god, I can't take this block stun. But you're trying to avoid said block stun leads to you pressing UDP in this situation. You end up dying. And that is, I believe, the second time this set that your DP has been baited with back to corner. Yep, he's starting to use some of his longer range buttons to outrange you. Again, that same exact timing, right? Again, run up, slight delay, very slight delay. This is really good on new challengers part. Run up, slight delay. He's catching your press timing every single time. You wait like you wait a few frames and then you press like every single time, right? And this hit is really bad to take. This is not a hit that you can shrug off and be like, oh, well, you know, I'll be fine. This is a lot of damage. This is Gran we're talking about. Into Oki again, you press on +4. This is remember we talked about the two situations before. You pressed on +4 the first time, you got a turn, but you didn't get a hit. The second time you ate a close H counter hit. The third time you pressed yet again on +4, meaning that for some reason you're not respecting close jabs, which is odd, as it's the most plus button on any character's kit, like minus specials, obviously. So I'm not really sure where that comes from, but very dangerous. Very dangerous game to be playing. Raging Strike, Raging Chain. Bro, the round is over. You said Suna happens. Right? Just take the Raging Strike, Raging Chain. Like, what are you doing? The round's over. Why are we not? It doesn't matter that you do an optimal combo or not here. He's dead. This is a good spot dodge on his part. You're autopiloting that a little bit. Another press on wake up. Counter hit knockdown. Press again. Starting to see, you see the pattern, right? Start hopefully, but like I'm sure you're gonna be watching this on VOD because you're not here now, but you can see where these issues could start popping up. DP. Yep. Okay, let's see what he does here. Takes HDP knockdown. Okay. Charges 5U. And so this is the issue. The issue is you're playing against Gran, and Gran has large buttons, like large buttons. And so like in these corner trap situations, you're going to have to play a little bit more mindful and a bit more patient, because counter poking this character is going to be hard for you on Narmaya. It just straight up will be difficult because of the nature of like this character just has larger buttons than you. And his reward on hit, especially with your back to corner, is just straight up death. Like, like there's no Gran on the planet that's not going to kill you for that. I mean, I think he actually drops the Link super here because it's too low, but you get what I'm saying. He did the right combo, just wrong timing. Okay, that was cursed. What the fuck? What the hell is that? Oh my god. You guys are funny. Okay. And we haven't seen just a straight up corner route happen very often. Again, catching that delay timing every single time. Again, delay timing. Again, like, you see what I'm saying? At this point, you should understand like what I'm getting at, right? You're pressing with the same timing over and over and over again. New challenger is taking it upon himself to directly attack that delay timing. You have not adapted yet. You've taken at least 4 or 5 counter hits back to back to back on that same delay timing, meaning that you need to mix it up. Nothing in fighting games is good if you do it every time. Yep, try to jump out again against 5U spacing. That's the second time you've eaten a fat 5U. Who pinged me? Okay, that was cursed. Again, press, and you're like, not only that, the crazy part is like you're pressing with that same timing again, and then you're assuming you're gonna hit him. When he blocked, you autopilot into this, you take a punish, right? That's even worse. Yep, pressing after whiff again. Same thing. Great. 5-0 whiffs. You try to press afterwards. You're not plus because you whiffed. I think that was the first time I've seen you block an entire string from him. Oh, big drop. Oh, man. That's ugly. Two games back to back, huh? All right, let's fast forward a little bit. I think you go up 4-2 and then he brings it back again, right? Pretty sure he does. Okay. Yeah, you tend after DP and BC, after getting DP'd successfully or getting BC'd successfully, you have a real like big tendency to bust out by either pressing or DPing yourself, which is real dangerous. You're not even doing UDP either, so like even if he like gets there in time to like safe jab, like you're kind of fucked because yeah, you don't have U skills, so it's a little tough. You don't even have a real like a real DP there. You just have parry, like you just get grabbed. Yep. Okay, so what happens here? Throw tech. You're minus. Remember, you're minus on button throw tech. You try to press, you will lose almost every time, right? You will lose almost every single time for trying to press after you button throw tech. That is the drawback of teching with a button instead of teching with throw. You have to hold this, right? Especially if the character has a button that will hit you from that range without them even moving forward, right? So there's going to be some characters that don't even have to move to press that advantage. They can just press a button that will reach you, and you will never get away with it. Okay. Yep. Playing that spacing. Yeah. So 5U, 5U from Gran is like a little. It's gonna be awkward for your character to maneuver around in these block situations. Let me go ahead and check frame data just to make sure. I'm pretty sure like when we start getting to the charge levels. Oh no. Okay. So it's always -5. Okay. At the very least, so it doesn't change on charge. Still, the spacing is still really good though, right? Look how far he is when this makes contact, and like I think you realize that like, okay, yeah, this is pretty far for me to try to answer, and so you try to dash forward, but it takes time, right? It takes time to get there. Takes time to get there. It gives him enough time to stuff you. Because he's playing good spacing. Like New Challenger played this situation pretty well overall in this set. Like when he put you in the corner and put you in the box, you like died like damn near every time. Do you have to still worry about DP in those situations? Okay. So funny that you chose 6XL here because he starts dashing at you first. And so like what would have been better would be for you to like press a standing button in order to stuff this, right? But in reality, like if he just chose to 6XL you there, you just lost, right? Like look how late you start compared to him. He gets like such a head start on you, right? So you got a little fortunate there, because you start way after him. I think maybe he was trying to call out backdash or something. Another counter hit. DP again. Okay. Funny stare down. Yeah, I don't. I only don't like this because like, yeah, you're chipping, but like health is just a means to an end, right? Like you can take all, like New Challenger is so patient for this. And you'll run into players that are like this too. There's like, yeah, you can chip me all you want, but like until I'm on chip point, I don't really fucking care, bro, to be honest. That there were a lot of options that he could have chosen to answer in this situation, especially if we're talking about like jump or roll. But either way, like he's like, okay, well, we're both one hit from dying. Like there's no reason for me to like take a big risk, especially whenever death is the is the consequence for being wrong. So he just kind of waits it out. He's still not on chip point. So like we're chilling. chilling. He eventually decides to answer with you fireball, which is good on his part because it goes through Setsuna, and also you dash forward, I think, a little bit before doing this one. Yeah, you do dash forward, you Setsuna this time. If you would have done Setsuna straight up in place, maybe you would have been able to clash in time. I'm not really sure how that interaction would have worked out, but you didn't actually even get the Setsuna out because he just hits you beforehand, mostly because you dash forward. And the you fireball knockdown is long. It's also counter hit on top of that. I would like to point out, right? And so all of these things lead to this is not something you want to take. The you fireball on hit is a hard knockdown. It's plus 54, right? It's a standard hard knockdown. That is a lot of time. That's a lot of time. He runs all the way over there because the knockdown is long as fuck. You DP. Because, like, again, I don't think you needed to do this, right? I don't think you needed to do this UDP. If you're on chip point, then it could be understandable to why you would take this risk. But you're not. You're not on chip point yet. You can actually take a special move on block and still be alive. And so I think in these situations, sometimes you're going to want to just wait to see, right? You never know what your opponent is actually going to do. And he's hard baited your DPs a good amount of times. In here, I don't think New Challenger is overextending on offense. He's playing quite patient with how he chooses to run offense after he secures a turn. So I don't know. DP was definitely not working for you that well this set. Okay, that's funny. Okay, checks the fake stuff. You actually press at that same timing again. You almost died for it. DP. Okay. You're running forward, 668. Again. Yep. Stuff in the approach. You're getting the counter hit. Another counter hit. Yep. Another counter hit. DP and panic. Dead round. The crazy part is throughout this entire set, like, again, Challenger is not, he's not even like pressing advantage in places that he could. Like, he's not relying on the fireball game that much, which is annoying for Narm to deal with because she doesn't really have much response, at least from like longer ranges, especially without meter. And so like, he's not even doing that. He's just actually just playing mid range with you, which Gran wins the mid range. But only if he's able to actually lock Narm down, which can be difficult. It can be difficult in certain situations, especially like when it's not off a knockdown. But he's like getting counter hit after counter hit after counter hit after counter hit on these counter poke situations, and DP has just not been successful for you, like, whatsoever. Like, damn near every DP that you've done this set has been hard baited. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're playing really flaily this set. I can't lie. You're flailing a lot. Like, you're like, oh god, I need to hit him. Oh my god, it didn't work. Press again. 6XL. Something, please. With something. Let me get some type of advantage. Like, it's just, I'm noticing like you're taking a lot of hits. Like, because you're playing neutral in a very panicked way. Damn, what the fuck? Who presses you boot there? That's crazy. He's okay, that's a new one. That's oh my god, bro. All right, let's look at the last game. Oh my god, that was crazy. That shit was crazy, bro. Okay, boot to the mouth. Same delay press timing again. You're like I think my diagnosis for you on this set is like you're like a player who found out what fuzzy mashing was for the first time. And so like probably 95 to 99% of your defensive options are just pressing fuzzy buttons, and you are getting absolutely blown up for it in a lot of these situations. And despite that, you're not adjusting well to add more things into how you play defense. Like a lot of the time you're not even blocking long enough to take advantage of like an unsafe block string ender, or maybe he leaves off on like a -4. Or it gives you opportunity to jump, or not even like spot dodging through certain things like fireball. Like there's like a lot of things that you could be doing, but you're just choosing to fuzzy mash every single time, regardless of whether or not it works or gets you hit, which is bad. It's like a lack of lucidity, like I talked about before. You want to try to quell your autopilot as much as possible, especially if you're playing in a long set. So like, cause like, why do you mash here? Like this is a very weird, like this match is really weird, right? You're falling off of combo hits, right? He lets you air tech and you fall. He's so plus here, like so goddamn plus. It's like unbelievable how much how plus he is here. And you still immediately just mash 2L. It's not even lot like 2L. It's not, it doesn't have good range. You actually just whiff, right? You pressing, you whiff, you don't even make contact. You don't even get blocks done out of this. You just mash it upon landing. But for what? What's the idea here? Right? Think about your risk reward. Okay. This is the first time we've seen, this is like one of the only times we've seen this escape option from you. You get away with a jump. Most of the time your jumps have been counteracted by 5U, which is why you haven't been able to get away with very many. This time you do jump, you press Yusetsuna, you flip rather, which I think in hindsight is probably pretty not good from you, because you see that he's whiffing 5U. Like during the jump, you could see, right? He's still even in the charging phase. He hasn't even let it go yet. He lets it go. You probably just got a straight up punish on this if you just did a normal jump in, but you in your mind, you were pre-programmed. I'm going to U flip to try to get out of the situation. So you kind of missed out on that opportunity. And then the flip doesn't even make contact. So he could have actually just punished you for doing that U flip on top. So it turned a potential punish for you into a punish opportunity for him, right? That's not great. You got to recognize that, oh, he's whiffing. And then on top of that, you whiff again after landing. Even after, like, U flip happens, he's not forced to block. He walks back a little bit. You whiff 2M again. If I went back and did a counter of how many 2Ms you've whiffed or 4Ms you've whiffed this set, you would rival Dragalia's flip counter in the course of a set. There's a lot of whiffing going on from you. And you're not paying enough attention to your spacings that after you whiff, you're not being like, okay, well, that didn't work, so now I might have to play some defense. Instead, you're just assuming that you're gonna make contact with your buttons, and that's a dangerous game to fall into. This is the one that doesn't work. Yeah. Again, that same exact timing again. You refuse to block post knockdown, post BC. You refuse to block. Yeah, you're a little late, but it's fine. It's on VOD. I made sure to not choose a copyrighted song, so you can go back and check it out. That was really good on his part. Again, same thing. It's like maybe I think out of all the DPs he pressed, like I think 2 of them worked that I saw in the games that we watched. I don't know, bro. I went through and you were getting counter hit a lot. I think you're getting counter hit more than you thought. The problem ends up being like if you're not spending UDP in particular, then he can meaty and still be safe to DP in the first place. So it's like you're not really like threatening that much risk on his play. I think he pressed UDP once this set. Oh wow, he actually recovered. Okay, that's pretty funny. Actually, or did he? Did you just not block? Oh, you actually just didn't block. Oh, you didn't even get counter hit. Yeah, you land. You don't even press a button. You just don't block. Okay. Yeah, but if you press JM, like if you're doing a jump in button, you should be holding back during it anyway, just in case of DP. Like you should have killed him for that. I think that worked, right? It did. Cataclysmic protagonist. Yeah, it's tough for him at the end. It's just a blind guess at that part, but yeah, I think I gave you, I definitely gave you some things to consider. That definitely gave you some things to consider. Definitely go back and check, because like there was your fuzzy timing is like pretty much the same every single time. There's not really much mix up there, and like even after like the counter hits started stacking up, it still ended up being the same timing. You don't block very much on wake up. At least you didn't in this set. You didn't block very much. It was almost always slight delay mash or DP. You like never was like, okay, I'm just gonna block, and Gran is not that threatening on block because it's Gran, especially mid screen. And like wait for the opportunity for his minus frames to like, you know, disengage or get something going. But that didn't happen very many times. It was either counter hit or it was like counter hit for one of you. So one of you either got a counter hit or you DP'd and he blocked it. That was like, those are like the two things that happen on most like on most knockdown situations, especially like these things are gonna like that in particular is like really punishing against it's not even just like stronger characters, but like people that play more they like press their advantage more than others. Like when you get BC'd, even on non-counter hit, like most characters 6XLs will be meaty on the tech situation. And so like pressing on that, like it might seem like, oh, they're too far away, but bro, these buttons be reaching, bro. Like I don't know if you want to give them the free hit. It'll be much more backbreaking if like they spend the BC and then they try to run offense and they don't get much off of it, right? That because now they're down to crystal and they weren't able to like get any type of crazy advantage off of it. If you give them the hit, then that justifies them spending the BC, right? If I know every time I BC you, I'm going to get a free hit, then I'm going to BC you a lot more, right? Anyone would. Anyone would just BC you a lot more because, like, why the fuck would I not? It's a free hit, right? And that's going to get really annoying for you as time goes on. Okay, pause. Sorry. Most people, let's, what do we need here? Let's check some inputs too. Okay, so you're playing against, I know I can't rewind. So you're playing against Versusia, and important to note against Versusia, Vayne's fundamental game plan is not super great against Versusia as a character, because Vayne is a very slow character that wants to rely on outranging his opponent to stack up chip damage, and by being very, very annoying by sitting behind shield. Versusia has direct counterplay to that, being a character with also extremely long range, but also projectiles that just straight up nullify the shield altogether. And Pillar can hit you behind the shield, completely ignoring it in the first place. And so it's important in matchups like this to not find yourself going through the motions, right? There are like certain things that you want to be doing, but you always want to check the situation before acting, right? If at all possible. If you get into the rhythm of, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, you're going to find you're going to get stuffed a lot by a character like this, because she has specific things that you have to look out for. So we'll see how that turns out here. So that situation that just happened, I actually don't like you setting up shield, right? Sometimes you don't want to tunnel vision on shield. This is something that a lot of Vayne players do. They always tunnel vision on, I want to set up shield. You have her back to corner here, right? You have her back to corner. She doesn't have 50 meter, meaning she can't DP. You should be running forward and pressing advantage to get buttons on block. Actually pressure her with block strings, right? Shield doesn't do much here because this doesn't create any more advantage for you. You already won neutral. You push her to corner. You want to threaten strike throw, right? You want to threaten with offense. This isn't very threatening, right? Yeah, she can't press into shield, but like, she doesn't have to. She's okay waiting out the timer. She's okay just sitting there doing nothing, waiting out the timer. There's like no urgency here. If you get on top of her and you force her to block something and you meaty, well, now you create that sense of urgency where that your opponent might want to get out of the situation. They might press a really bad button. They might try to jump away. That gives you opportunities to hit them in situations that you're not going to by backing up and setting up shield. If you wanted analysis from long sets or tournament sets you stream, would it be best to go back and record them or cut them straight off the stream? I don't care, either or. If you want to just give me a stream timestamp, that's fine. You don't have to go through the trouble. I don't mind. Right. So you get hit by that pillar because you backed off, and you get, that's what I mean by like setting up shield does nothing to this character. Not nothing, but like it does less to this character because you just press pillar and completely ignore the shield altogether because it's tracking, right? It doesn't have to travel through the shield to get to you. It just spawns underneath you, right? Okay. Yeah, be careful about doing multiple swings. After every time you press energy destruction, confirm where your opponent is. If they block energy destruction, you're fine because now it's 0 on block. If they don't block energy destruction, now we have to pay attention to what our opponents are doing. Did they jump? Were they just straight up out of range? Either way, when you whiff, you have a lot of recovery. So you want to be careful about choosing to swing again in those situations. Okay, we get a jump. Nice. Okay, a little bit of a miss on that. It's okay. No big deal. Counter hit confirm. So I'm noticing a lot of the time when you jump, you are choosing to do energy destruction. It's fine to throw in there, but generally you want to try to stay grounded. Right. In Grand Blue, being grounded is really good. Jumping on certain characters is really good, but Vayne isn't a character where jumping is like particularly good. He has some trajectory changes with destruction, and I think his JU has like a little jet that like pushes him backwards, but like it's not anything that is like ultra threatening. So generally, unless you're like a hard reading like a fireball or something like that, like you generally want to be staying grounded. You don't want to go into the air too much. It gives your opponent a lot of time to respond, like a lot of time. Much more time than you may be thinking. Okay, you're trying to DP. Yeah. So you panicked, right? You panicked when you didn't have to. That's what. Oh god, the sound effects are get all desynced whenever you pause during it. It's so funny. But yeah, you panicked there, right? Like you were trying to mash out DP at first, and eventually you mashed so hard that you ended up getting SSBA. And there wasn't really anything that scary there in that situation. Yeah, you're back to corner, but you guys are pretty even on life. If you get a good counter poke, then you actually just win the round. But instead you kind of panicked. You want to try to avoid panicking. Just try to digest what your opponent is doing to you. Like really think about what is going on. And sometimes like pressing that super on defense is the right thing to do, but that particular situation didn't warrant it. Yep, get smacked down. Again, another jump. Like you're jumping a lot. You're jumping quite a lot. This will be very backbreaking against certain characters. Or just any character that's willing to just sit there and anti-air you. But right. It's not your turn, right? If you get hit and you air tech, generally, if you get hit in the air and air tech, your opponent is going to be able to get there in time. Generally. There are some times where they won't be able to. Sometimes they'll be a little bit too far. Sometimes the character that you're fighting against has stubby normals, so they can't exactly press the advantage as much. But again, there's nothing that threatening from that far. You can just wait. And if you block a plus on block normal, it's fine. It's fine. We have health to work with. We don't have to scramble. Oh, I don't know what happened there. You kind of just stood still. That jump from her was actually really bad. You could have absolutely annihilated her. And that's the thing about Vayne as well too, right? Like the more you jump, the less you're on the ground. The less you're on the ground, the less you get to 2H people. And Vayne explodes people off of anti-airs. You cannot jump against this character. You will absolutely die. And Versusia has no trajectory changer. So every time that she jumps, she's taking a massive risk. I'm talking like 60%, 50, 60% for jumping. You want to make sure that you're looking for those opportunities because your character is blessed enough that even on non-counter hit, right? Like there's some characters that only get juicy conversions on counter hit. Vayne is not like that. He gets a really nice conversion even on non-counter hit. So anytime you catch them jumping, be ready for that. Make them pay for it, right? That's like one of the really, really big strengths of Vayne is that you can't jump at him. You can. It is a really bad idea to jump at him. I'll even give you there's a pretty solid Vayne that plays in my exhibition series from time to time. I'll link you some of their VODs so you can kind of get a feel for what that looks like to just like look for the jump ins and kind of play that slowed down neutral style. Like you want to try to play a little bit more responsive. Vayne is not a super preemptive character in most cases. Oh, you gave up? You gave up? Why'd you give up? Every round is winnable, friend. Every single round. It might seem hopeless. You might be annoyed, but every round is winnable. There's no reason to give up. How are we gonna get anywhere if we give up in the face of adversity, bro? Like it's I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. All right. When we talked about things you could do in game, this is something you can do out of game. You got to fix your mental, right? Like you're playing against a human being. That means like you won't always win, right? Sometimes, here's the most frustrating thing for a lot of people. One of the most frustrating things whenever playing fighting games is the idea, people get this idea that, oh, well, I did the right thing, but I got punished for it. It's important to not fall into that because in reality, if you did the quote unquote right thing, you don't get punished for doing the right thing, right? There's like an idea that fighting game players have that there's like a binary right and wrong on every decision. Like, oh, I did the right thing. Like, why am I the one that has to hold this? But in reality, like situations in fighting games can change pretty drastically off of very, very little interactions. Like we've all seen like spacing just barely be off, or suddenly a button is like slightly more plus or slightly more negative depending on spacing, how early or late it was it meaty, was it not? Like there's like a lot of variability, and that's what makes fighting games fun, right? That's what makes fighting games fun, is that it's not binary. right and wrong on every single situation. Sometimes the idea in your mind that you had is actually like a pretty solid idea, but sometimes at that same exact time, your opponent has a really, really good response to exactly the thing that you were trying to do. That doesn't mean that your idea was bad. It just means that sometimes you get outplayed, right? Sometimes your opponent has a read on you, and that exists at all levels, no matter what. Like that, that exists at all levels. And so it's important to not get frustrated in those cases. Just you don't want to forget about situations, so to speak. You don't want to like eject it completely from your mind, but the negativity associated with that, you want to move on from, right? Remember what happened in that situation, but don't let it hold you back, right? Don't let it frustrate you. Also, I don't know why, but I can't leave this. Okay. I can't leave. There's no I'm pressing pause. I'm pressing the pause button. It's not coming up, so I'm stuck. I can't leave chat. It's over. Okay, finally. I was like, bro, what the fuck? Bro, I pressed that shit at least 100 times. Still nothing happened. All right, let's go to we have a stories match here. Who's pinging me? I've been pinged a lot today.
Believe in victory. Battle 1.
Okay, important against Sories in particular. I'll give you a little bit of guidance on this, since Sories is not a character that you'll like run into a ton. It's not that many people playing Sories. Like there's some people playing him, but it's not like an overly common character, so it can be it can be tough sometimes to like really figure out what he's trying to do. So generally, right, if he punches you, if he does the big lunge punch that covers a lot of ground, right, if there's like a long windup before it, it's plus, because that was the M version. If there's not a long windup, whether it's non-EX or EX, be it the L or the H versions, he is minus, right? That's important to know. Now, whenever he does the non-plus versions, he can space it to make it really, really difficult to get any type of turn, because it's very slightly minus. It's only -3, right? And so you do want to be careful. You want to be careful about like autopiloting, like, oh, I block punch, I automatically get something, but you don't want to let him steal turns against you either, right? Sories is a character that is really good at stealing turns, and so you just want to be really, really aware about when he's actually plus and when he's minus, and that can change everything in terms of like trying to escape or trying to challenge or this or that. So that punch that you blocked in this situation was actually plus on that one, so it's fine that you didn't press anything. Okay. Nice pick up on the counter hit. Whoa, don't jump your way into the corner. Yeah. See, you had the positioning, right? You boxed your opponent into the corner. You even got a knockdown and all that, and then you chose to give up that advantage by jumping yourself into the corner. He blocks your jump in, and then Brave counters you into the corner, so now you're the one that has back to corner and has to play defense. You should have just kept pressuring while you're outside of the corner while he's stuck in there. Yeah, you gotta stop jumping so much. Gotta stop jumping so much. It's a hard habit to break, but you gotta stop jumping. Get muted. So I noticed you tried to BC in that round, but you don't DP. Seems like you don't really DP very much. You give up again? Zalgo. Why? You lost the round. That's okay. I don't get it. What happened there? What happened there that made the game so frustrating that you decided to give up? Right? I don't understand that. I don't get it. Okay, we we gotta work on these things, bro. We gotta work on these things. What's it like? You boot up the game to play the video game, right? What's the point of booting up the game if you're just gonna give up and not play? Think about that. What's the point? There's not very much point. Also, what's this? Oh, okay. Because I'm sorting by his replays, I think is why. But yeah, that's like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you get frustrated, it's okay for you to turn off the game. Like, you can just choose to not, but don't boot up the game and then rage quit. Like, what are you doing? It defeats the purpose of us playing in the first place. You're supposed to play video games to enjoy yourself. Yeah, it's a fighting game. And like, you know, things can be frustrating sometimes, but like, it completely defeats the purpose. Okay, let's see if we do a little better here. I'm noticing a lot of one and dones too. So you give up in the middle of the match and then you don't rematch them. It's like, I don't even get to see if you're adapting to your opponent because you're not even playing full sets with people. You care way too much. I think you care too much about your rank. Your rank does not matter. If you become a better fundamental player, you'll rank up. You'll get better. But I'm telling you, like, trying to preserve your S1 rank of all things, like, it doesn't matter. You magically getting you getting to S plus is not gonna help you in any way aside from, like, it's not gonna do anything, right? If anything, it's gonna make things worse for you because you're gonna fight better opponents. And if you're the type to rage quit whenever you fight anyone that's outplaying you, it's like you're gonna run into that a lot, right? So that stuff does not matter. Hello, Kaio, how you doing? Okay, checks you. Yep, tried to jump away after 6XL. Just getting hit a lot on these approaches. No, see, jumping too much. First time you've eaten a fat anti-air for it. I don't know why he did that on the combo, but okay. Counter hit again. That's like the second or third time in a row this round that you gotten counter hit on knockdown. Okay, he's not doing great combos though, so, you know, we get more chances to play. Put out the shield, okay. Ah, and really nice from him. UDP on the energy destruction. Really good. Really good. That's the problem with autopiloting. And you just eat the meaty. Please tell me you didn't give up. Please. Okay. All right. We're still playing. Good. Yep. Spot dodge through. Oh, it's interesting. Wasn't intentional at all, but you want to try to mix up your block string enders, right? You have like some different things that you can choose. You can do wild beat. You can sometimes do destruction. Sometimes you can like try to finesse him by putting out shield on a string, and then whenever he tries to counter poke, he presses into the shield. You know, like you want to mix it up a little bit more. Be careful about like choosing the same strings every single time that you get blocks done. Der. Yellow. Yep. Okay. Nope. Gotta stay grounded. You could have got a fat anti-air there. Like when you put out shield, and someone jumps, you should be salivating as Vayne. Like, oh my god, I got him exactly where I want him. He should be dying. Like, they should just perish, right? That's exactly what you want. You put out the shield, they say, I don't want to deal with shield, so I'm going to try to jump over it. You murder them for that. But you're spending so much time in the air yourself that you're not in a position to deal with these jump-ins. Okay, and then you actually played a full first to two with the Siegfried here. So look at those and then. What's up, Coffee? How's it going? Starbucks in yellow. Okay. That is a fireball. Autopilot, throw tech. Okay, we take the BC. So okay, so I'm gonna present you a very, very interesting premise, right? Let's say you brave counter someone. If you brave counter someone and you get a counter hit, you get a lot of advantage. You get a hard knockdown, right? It's very, very plus. So what you'll see in most high level matches is when that happens, especially when back is the corner, you'll see them super jump to get a guaranteed cross up safe jump. The reason for that is because when your back is the corner, your number one priority should be alleviating disadvantage. To do that, you need to get out of the corner. And what the safe jump cross up does is that it puts your opponent in the corner while escaping pressure yourself, right? And so instead, what happens is you BC and you get the counter hit and you put out shield. Again, the issue with that is that your back is still to corner, right? You're still in a very bad spot because your back's to corner. You don't have a lot of room to play. You should be focusing on getting out of that disadvantaged position. You can do that in a bunch of ways. You can either take the safe jump, like I said. You can just run forward and meaty so that you actually create some space between you and the corner should you actually get hit. There's a lot of different things, but I think you're too focused on I got a BC or I got a successful defense. I'm going to put out shield, right? You're tunnel visioning on shield far too much. Okay, what's your combo look like? Okay, full cash out here. Okay. Could have done a little bit more there with Raging Strike, but it's okay. I'm not mad at it. Oh, you actually don't even get full Annie there either. That's unfortunate. Or did he? Wait, did he get full Annie there? Actually wasn't paying attention to the crystal. His is like a slight cutscene, so you don't see it very often. Oh, you've been swept. Oh my god. Yeah, you're pressing a lot on defense. You're mashing throw. Like I can like thankfully, I can see your inputs. You're mashing throw on defense a lot. You don't have to mash throw on defense. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to mash throw on defense. The reason is because in this game there's throw protection. On knockdown, I believe it's 9 frames. When you wake up from being knocked down, there's 9 frames where you cannot be thrown. Straight up. When you take block stun or hit stun, there's 6 frames where you cannot be thrown. If your opponent tries to throw, they will whiff. So you don't have to mash throw on defense, right? Sometimes defensive throws are fine, but you're just like literally wake up mashing throw. And that is pretty hard to get away with against better players, right? It's hard. It's hard. You're just going to die, right? And you get meatied a lot. This game, like you just get counter hit. Again, right? You're not even like checking to see like, is my opponent next to me, right? He was already in the air. You still press throw. Siegfried's another character that punishes really hard for people jumping, right? Your characters are similar in that regard, where jumping against them is generally death unless you have a really strong trajectory changer. And so again, you got to reel in that jumping habit. You're on chip point. You can't take a fireball. Why'd he do that? That move sucks. Okay, good BC. You put out the shield, but you put yourself in to the fireball by doing the destruction there. Yeah, a little bit too much. A little bit too much. Another jump. So I don't know if you noticed, but the interaction that has been happening is you put out shield, but Siegfried has a multi-hit fireball. So he just puts that out and it doesn't matter that you have the shield out. So shield has less value in this particular matchup, at least at those ranges, because he can just be like, oh, I'm just going to press fireball and not have to fucking care. Right. So that's what I mean by like you're focusing on shield a little bit too much. It's happened a few times now where he's just like, I'm going to fireball through it anyway. Okay. Nice. Yeah, that's the problem though. That's the problem though. You spot dodge, which is good because it is unblockable. You take a good amount of damage, but it's actually an overwhelming majority of the time it's not your turn afterwards. What you can do instead, you can DP it, right? You can DP it if you want. But yeah, it's not one of those that's like, oh, I spot dodged it, I get an explicit punish. In fact, like Siegfried's used to they used to have setups into this unblockable. And like, again, people would spot dodge it on reaction, but then he got a guaranteed throw in those situations. So it's like, okay, weird choice of use skill from him, but it's okay. Jumping again, bust out. It's not gonna go. Hello, John Alaska. How you doing? Okay. All right, last one, last game. Okay, that's like, I think that's the first time I've seen you get counter hit BC and actually just run for and take advantage. Very good. You need more of that, especially when your back is the corner, right? Putting out shield's not going to do shit for you, especially against Siegfried. He has multi-hit fireball. It doesn't matter, right? Run forward, press the advantage so that you're not back to corner anymore. You need to get out of that situation, right? Look at that. You fought your way out. Very nice. Very nice. Now we can put up shield. But again, Siegfried fireball. Does not give a fuck. That should have told you something. This set. This has happened like 5 or 6 times in this set in total. Like, it's just not that good against Siegfried. So as uncomfortable as it might be, you have to shield less. You have to shield less. Use shield is another story, but like, you have to shield less. Yep, gonna be in the corner. And that time you got caught trying to jump, so you get hit crouching, even though it wasn't counter hit. What's up, Shotgun? Or Shogun, sorry, Shotgun. How's it going? You give up again. Stop it. Stop it. Oh man, I'm gonna get upset. This is not the reason we play the video game. This is not the reason. Right? We don't play games to quit. That's not the point. You turned on Grand Blue Rising for a reason. Okay? No reason for you to give up. What's the point? Listen, the road to improvement is not an easy one, right? If fighting games were easy, everyone would be good at them. Obviously, that's not the case. So what does that tell us? Like, there's going to be some difficulty in the improvement process. But what you're doing right now, we saw 3 games where you gave up and you just stopped playing as a result of frustration, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense for you to do that. You are not doing yourself a service as a player, right? To give up in the middle of sets. In fact, one of the most important things that you can do while playing a fighting game is to play more with people to adapt to what they're doing. You're not even giving yourself time to do that. You're getting hit by things and you're getting outplayed by your opponent and you're just giving up instead of making those adjustments. That does not make you any better as a player. You can quit all you want, right? Like you decide to quit and turn off the game and not play the set anymore, but that essentially makes whether you win or lose RNG. You're just hoping that you're hoping to run into someone bad enough that they don't answer the shit that you're doing. You're not improving as a player. You're creating a bullshit facade that you can make yourself try to feel better about winning because you ran into someone that didn't know what they're doing, instead of fighting against someone who knows what they're doing and actually is giving you issues and triumphing over them, which makes you stronger as a player. this habit has to stop. I don't ever want to see this again, right? I offered you help out of the kindness of my heart, right? I did this for you because I want to see you improve. Do me a favor. I don't ever want to see you quit on a replay again. If I see you quit on a replay again, I'm not going to be as nice about it this time. This is not acceptable, right? This is not acceptable if you want to be strong. And you coming into my chat and asking for help tells me that you at least want to become stronger. This is not going to make you stronger. It will not. You're being a coward. You're not taking accountability for your actions. When you lose sets, it's your fault. You can complain about what your opponent is doing. You can complain about their character. You can do all of that. It doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, you are accountable for your own losses. The only common factor in all of your losses, in every single one of your losses, you know what that one common factor is? It's you. You are the common factor. You're the only thing that remains constant in all of your losses. That's it. It's the one factor, right? That means it's your fault. It is your fault. Don't treat your opponent like this. Give your opponent at least the honor of, I'm going to play out the set. You don't have to keep playing the entire set. You don't have to keep playing afterwards, whatever, right? At least finish the game. Finish the game. But I would like to see you play more full sets. I looked through your replay list and you're one and doneing a lot of people out of frustration. Like I said, you're just dodging. You're not actually getting better. Your wins are essentially RNG. You're not in control of your wins, right? One and done, one and done, one and done, right? You played a set here. That's cool. Play a set here. Okay, so maybe it was just like, I don't know. Maybe this particular one was like a rough spot for you or something. But like the most recent stuff I'm seeing is a bunch of one and dones. You only played a full set at the end, and then you didn't even play a full set with them because you quit. You played one game with the Sories and then quit, or played one round with the Sories and then quit. So like, what does that tell us, right? Really think about that. This is not the way to go about improving, just straight up. I can do a lot of things, right? I can offer resources. I can offer guidance. I can do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's playing. You're responsible for your gameplay, right? I can't make you play the set. I can't make you play better. I can't do that. You have to want to improve on your own and make those changes, right? I can't do that for you. And to do that, you're going to have to play against your opponent. You're going to have to take some L's. We all take L's. Everyone loses these fucking games, bro. It's just how it goes. The best players in the world lose games. That happens. It's okay. It's a part of the process. Like you don't have to, like, quitting does nothing for you. I can't stress that enough. Like I said, if I boot up one random day and I look at your replays and I see more of you quitting and not playing sets out, I'm gonna be very upset. Be very upset. Whether you care that I'm upset or not is a different story, but like I will be very hesitant to help you again if this is the stuff that I'm seeing, right? Just putting that out there, because this was yesterday. This was not like super long ago. You can't say, oh, I'm a changed man, right? This was yesterday, your most recent games. If this is how you're playing, you will never get better, right? Is this what you're doing? If you're quitting, you're not gonna get better, right? I gave you things to work on. I gave you things that you can do to respond to certain situations. That's all fine and dandy, but you need to play the game. Play the fucking game, okay? First and foremost. Okay, sorry. That was frustrating. Okay, we're fucking around.
This is just a fucking, you see him impersonator, bro. Get his ass.
Okay. So, Yule in particular, like you're both playing like kind of skirmishers, in a way. I think like generally Setsuna is like pretty okay, in this matchup, especially because Yule doesn't have like a return fireball or anything that she can use. And also you have the benefit of like Yule's dive kick. If she like jumps and like tries to change jump trajectory, she doesn't get a combo on it ever. Which is really nice. So that kind of removes some of the window of error. It's still there for sure, but it makes it a lot nicer to try to get away with things like that. She runs really far in to get this grab though. Like this is pretty far because Setsuna hits back here. She does run stop. Okay, gets 6XL, but then she runs really far. Like look how far in we run. That's pretty far. It's pretty far. Here's the. Okay, we're taking with button. This is fine. Okay, I'd be careful about this being your go-to for escape, just because like I know how much you'll hurts if she's right on anti-air. Like this can be tough, but you get away with it, so you know. Still definitely want to keep that in mind. Okay, trying to brave counter it. See, that's the thing. You don't have to brave counter this. It's not actually scary. That's like the thing, right? The thing about Yule is that like she's gonna do a lot of things to you, but like the actual scary things are not usually happening until stance happens. Like her taking plus frames, like if you wanted to brave counter, if you're thinking, okay, I don't want to take Yule pressure, right? Maybe you're thinking her back is the corner. I want to take advantage of this particular spacing. Your best brave counter would be here, right? This is guaranteed because it's a special move. She can't stop you from brave countering here. Not on like 5L, like you're trying to brave counter on 5L. It's like, this is not scary. This is not, you know what I mean? Like this is not that scary. What's happening to you right now? Okay, you're getting strike thrown. Get meated. You have a DP if you absolutely don't want to take that guess there, right? You had 50 meter even, right? You could try that if you want. Try it there. It's fine. So I would argue, right? I would argue that like when you play fighting games, like most people are gonna feel the most panicked when they're actually in the corner. And so people tend to look for reversals more when their opponent is back to corner. They're not looking for it as much whenever it's like a mid-screen knockdown. At least in a lot of mid-screen situations, it's way harder to cover, right? Because especially on back tech, because this game has back recovery, it's hard for you to get a meaty and then also be safe to reversal. And in some cases, a lot of cases, you just can't. You can't get a meaty because the only thing that will reach is like 6XL. But if you 6XL, then you can't be safe to reversal because you can't safe jab with 6XL, thank God. So stuff like that. Back tech, yeah, when you recover in this game, you can either tech in place, like you can tech exactly where you land, or you can tech and like your character will do like a back recovery where they roll backwards. Back recovery is especially good mid-screen because, like I said, it's way harder for your opponent to get any type of consistent meaty if you do it mid-screen. It still can be covered, and because it gets used so much, people do look for it, but it makes it still a lot harder to like cover everything and then also be safe to reversal and whatnot. So you got to factor that into your defensive tendency for sure.
But drops is off on the finish off. We're seeing some misinputs here from our friend Zach. Last set as well. The PS4 pad might.
Yeah, I'm doing VOD review right now.
The dual shock is a little dual frozen, dual frostbite.
God, I hate it when Narms do that round start, but okay, fine.
Nasty version off the far L there. Nice little juggle. Q, get the overhead. No combo off of that.
Oh no. Oh no. This is what I mean by this jump habit.
Nice little juggle. Q, get the overhead. No combo off of that.
Oof.
Counter head. That was crazy too. I don't know if that was like a throw bait that worked out as an anti-air.
Okay.
Seems like a lot of accident.
Okay, so you take BC here.
Combo off of that. Counter head. That was
Take a
crazy
look at
too.
this
I don't know if
situation
that
real
was
quick.
a throw bait that worked out as-
But when she did that button on block, she's pretty spaced. So like when you BC her, even though you get counter hit, she's pretty far. So you do like dash forward before you take off on the jump, but you lose advantage when you run for this long, right? So this actually isn't meaty. You see he walks forward. He walks forward before you even like get there. It's because that isn't actually truly meaty. So if like you run the risk of like something really horrible happening to you here, getting checked on jump-ins like this because it was so far that you felt the need to dash, you lose your advantage. And against certain characters, you'll just die. You'll just die for this. It's okay to recognize that when you BC'd, it's a little bit further than usual and just like take a normal meaty instead of taking the jump in. Or just take a same side safe jump instead of going for the cross up, because usually you have to dash if you want to do the cross up. But you can see like why that could be dangerous, because she walked, like she very clearly recovered before having to hold anything in the first place. Like even if you press jump button there, she's still there.
Got him out
Do I recommend jumping early or just 6XL? Man, it depends. It depends. Jumping out of the corner, I think in general is pretty dangerous. Just like really hard. I think sometimes you need to just walk. As scary as that is, sometimes you just need to walk and block. Because anything that you choose, like if you choose jump, if you choose 6XL, if you choose pressing a button, right? You can't block. You can't block during any of those, right? And so it's a guess, essentially. If you walk, then if something happens, you still block, right? You still block if you walk. If you dash, you can't. You can't because your dash startup gets hit, right? So sometimes I think you just actually have to walk, as scary as that is. Your walk speed's not the best in the world, but it still can do something, especially whenever people are trying to put you on Box of Doom. Because what walking does is it changes the spacing that you were at when the knockdown happened. So like if I'm able to take a step forward, then suddenly that button that was -5 but spaced might not be spaced as well. And that makes it easier for me to potentially get a turn back or potentially get a brave counter or this or that, right? Whereas if you let them play at the same exact spacing that they were, they're going to play that optimal spacing as long as they possibly can. And it's much harder to get a successful like active defense out of that. Like jumping, 6XL, dashing, those are all active defense, right? Sometimes you just have to block it out for a while before you actually get a chance. And it also is going to depend on whether you'll listen stance or not. But the principle is the same against every single character, really. Like it's the same deal. That same jump that you did there, like the same 2 jumps that you did there against Siegfried, you're fucking death. You're dead. You're just dead, right? Against Vayne, you're fucking dead. Against Cat, you're dead, right? Lucy, you're dead. Like you see what I'm saying? Like it just, the risk is really high.
All you got to do is tech the throws and block the hits.
You can throw it in every once in a while, but I don't want it to become like your go-to just because of how much risk you're taking.
I don't know if that's the second part of the 5LL, but I think that almost always strings, right? So I think that had to be the 5 heavy.
Right, she gives you space, right? Like Kaiina even is like, you can see it. You can see Kaina's waiting to see what type of active defense you're choosing because you've chosen active defense an overwhelming majority of the time, right? So like you tech Immedius, and he's walking back. He's like looking to like catch a counter poke, right? You block far M. There's no cancel or anything, right? Just walk forward. Just walk forward. Honestly, you could even like press a button here because you saw that there's no cancel, right? If you see that there's no cancel, you can try to get a turn in this situation, but you jump instead, and suddenly your opportunity is much more narrow. Because like, what if he just kills you for this? What if he just killed you for this? He didn't. He could have, but he didn't. But now you're back in the same situation again anyway, right? You didn't even press a button falling.
It had a little zoom in. Yeah, okay. You know what? I know enough. I'm a real Graham Lure.
Who's on commentary? He's like, what is happening?
Guard cancel, just get out. Other side, nice.
This is fine.
Hit, but can't really find a combo off of it. Just kind of gets the knockdown. Don't know if there's that mid backdash. Back throw incident though. Getting a lot of weight. Wake up super. What do we do? We'll just get
what?
Out. Other side, nice. Gets the hit, but can't really find a combo off of it. Just kind of gets the knockdown. Don't know if there's that mid backdash. Back throw incident though. Getting a lot of weight. Wake up super.
Okay.
What do we do? Okay, yeah, spot dodge.
Hey, you can't. Yeah, you can't spot dodge too. That's pretty funny.
Style on him and ends up scuffing him on the way in. Moves
now you put yourself in the corner.
That special is where couldn't validate the throw. Nice patience.
Just stay solid. Just stay solid. She's not.
He's trying to style on him and ends up.
She's not that scary.
Scuffing him on the way in. Moves forward enough off of that special.
It's okay.
The throw. Nice patience on the throw.
Hey, normals don't chip, bro. We're chilling.
Here,
we're
like,
chilling.
Won't kill you, I don't think, unless maybe counter hits.
Oh, what did he catch here? So 6XL happens. Okay, plus you stop it too. I think you try to steal a turn afterwards. I see.
Not gonna matter though. We just buffered at the gem at that point.
So like the funny thing about this is that like you Coffee can actually kill people for this, right? Because like most of the time when people are doing single button confirms at the Raging Strike, they're not actually hit confirming. They're like trying to OS, And OSs can go wrong because it's only depending on a cancel, right? It's only depending that your body was there. But if you walked and blocked, like if you did like micro walk and then down backed, right? Then this comes out and he cancels into Raging Strike, you spot dodge and you kill him, right? You actually see this happen in games where people like try to autopilot trying to stuff an approach and they go into Raging Strike and they get spot dodge and die. Like that happens because you can actually block in those situations. This one you couldn't because you dashed, right? Every time that you dash, it is a commitment. And that's important to keep in mind whenever you're playing neutral against literally everyone, especially like when you're looking to steal turns and trying to alleviate disadvantage. Sometimes walking is just better. Walking in this game is really good. It's really good in this game because you can block and because it builds a shit ton of meters. So walking is really good.
Not gonna matter though. We just buffered with the gem. At that point, any hit turns into a combo that you don't even need the full combo on. Shows with the copy crowd in the not in the chat, but in the
Okay, with punished.
every time that guy copy ends up on the phone, I look
You know 6XL is plus.
a combo that you don't even need the full combo.
You know better. So like the funny thing is like it's crazy how the human mind works, right? So let's look at this situation. You get hit on round start. This is like max. This is like very good spacing on 6XM. Can't blame on that, right? But this, right? This 6XL is not super great for him because look at the space between you and him, right? This is hard. This is like hard to get like good pressure. He could press a far button, but like if your pressure ends at a far button there, it's like not that scary, right? It's 6XL into close buttons that are the scariest because they have cancel options and whatnot. So this would have been a pretty okay spot for you to try to challenge, especially with a button that low profiles. Because look at after 6XL, look how much space is between you, right? It's hard to get anything like true that is also threatening in that situation, right? That's no, it's like, I'm telling you. The 6XL, the 6XL matters, right? FarM is a good button, but I think you're too scared of it. I think you're a little bit too scared of FarM to the point where in situations that are actually like decent for you to challenge, you're not challenging, but you're challenging in cases where like disadvantage is more explicit. So like for example, like here, right? It's way harder. Why didn't you try this on the one before? You might have even hit him. Right? But you try it when your back is the corner, when you don't have nearly as much room to work with, right? Back-to-back situations where the same thing happened.
Every time.
But your disadvantage is much more pronounced here than mid-screen, right? At least like think about it from a punishment standpoint. Let's say she's right. Let's say she does far him and it counter hits you. If you're mid-screen, it's way less bad than if you're in corner, right? If you get hit by far him in the corner here, like this is really bad. This is not great. This is not great at all. If it's mid-screen, it's not as bad, right? And so like risk reward, like if you're gonna challenge on one of the two, I figured it would be the one that was mid-screen, but instead you chose the one that was corner. It might have been a case of you thinking, oh well, he walked back last time, maybe he'll walk back again. But you're hard. That would be like hard reading in defense in a situation where you don't really have to hard read. Like far M is good, but like bro, I'm telling you, it's not the game ender that you think it is.
Shout out to Goonies, by the way. We will be working again with them this year.
Okay.
Only open on Saturday. Get Goonin while you can.
Okay.
Or throw incident.
Taking throws,
Like
still fine. Okay.
The other way.
So like, do you see what I mean? So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So this situation, you take a throw, we're blocking out. You don't fall for shimmy or anything like that. That's fine, right? He does button into back roll, right? This is a lot of space. Look how much space he gave you, right? Most people, whenever they're playing corner situation, this is actually too far, right? You want to be like here, underneath the timer, right? But he's here. This is so much space. You have so much space to do so many things here, right? But instead, you stayed in place and you pressed buttons, right? You pressed one button, pressed another, you have two far H's, and then you're like, oh, fuck, that didn't work, so I'm going to try to flip out, right? Which was also punishable on his part, right? What are your options there? Anything. Just move. Move forward. Take space. Take space. Remember what I told you about walking?
It's a lot like the back throw incident, but
like, you know, you should know that it's not going to hit here. Like, if you're pressing far H, that's a read, right? You're pressing far H in hopes that he runs into it. But like, you shouldn't be focused on hard reading in this situation, right? Just walk forward. And then if Gurren comes out, you can block it. You just, and like, even after, like, you see him stance and then backdash, you still have time. Like, look at this. He gives you so much. It's okay. It's plus. It's okay. It's okay that it's plus. That's not a big deal. If you're that scared of it, Brave counter it. It's okay. It's just plus frames. They're not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you, bro. I promise. It's not going to kill you. You're not stuck because you have the option to BC. You're not stuck. Blocking is very good in this game. It's really good. It's really good. But you could have, before that even happened, like, once you see the like him go back and stance, like, yeah, he could send it if you really want to, but you could also DP it. Like, if you see Gurren come out, you could DP it if you want to do that, right? You have time to do something like that too. But honestly, I think you could have just moved. Like, you could just walk forward. And then if you see it come out, it's like, okay, cool. And if you have to block it, cool, BC, guaranteed. And you're up a crystal too, so it's not like you're like losing. You're not losing like on economy there.
Puts you in the corner the other way. It's a lot of buffering here too, right? Like, using that special, because I think that jump special is plus on to take a risk.
Oh, sorry, Twitch's player is fucking dog shit, bro. The day they fix this fucking website's video player, I can.
I can just chill at mid range. Like, I've got all the health in the world. I don't need to take a risk.
So that's second time back to back you've gotten hit by the same round start. But last time he did it immediate. This time he did slight delay before. I think you walked back a little bit. Yeah, walk back a little bit. You both dash forward. You both 6XM. His was faster.
I've got all the health in the world. I don't need to take a risk or put myself in a compromising position. Not for the likes of you. No escape, counter hit. And that's what you're gonna, I mean, you're facing a character with like defense. I think they only have a DP in one of their stances.
Oh! You got away with one. You should have died.
You're facing a character with defense. I think they
Fortunate.
in one of their stances. Avoids the punish on it, but is now locked out from the EXTP for a decent amount of time.
This is your jump startup. Or did you get counter hit? Let's see.
With like weak defense. I think they only have a DP in one of their stances.
Oh yeah, you hit your jump startup. I see.
Avoids the punish on it, but is now locked out from the EXTP for a decent amount of time. Might not matter. Might die before that becomes an issue. Not gonna send the super, just a bait.
Okay. First UDP successful. Let's go.
Maybe harm DP plus walk the other side. Just kind of the back walk incident.
So okay, I think that let me check on this real quick. No, let me check to be absolutely sure. Yeah, so in both stances your 2M's in mid, right? So like I think sometimes on these strings that you have when you're like spacing out, right? Like if you either walk backer, sweep him. Sweep. It's a low. It catches walk back. You still have cancel options. Bro, sweep. So good against people that walk back. But your 2M won't do it because it's mid. It's mid. So like you like sweep him. Like actually, you see him walking back, check with sweep, right? And if you want to do a cancel afterwards, you can do that. But that's like one of the natural counters to walk back. Who's pinging me? Oh my god. What? Huh? What is this? Oh, okay. I see. That's gonna be a fucking disaster.
Ready to put the legs, right? We've seen a lot of Zach just kind of holding back.
People are sending me new assets for a tournament later. I'm like, bro.
I don't think this is a character that has like, she has like good like throw bait, it seems, but in terms of her ability to crack open a person's block, that was cute as hell, bro. Oh, like synchronized it swimming.
Why not EX her?
She has like good like throw.
Maybe just you might have just not had the spatial awareness, but
that was cute as hell, bro. Oh, like,
you make it to corner. Like you make it. Like for sure. Like it's in those cases, I would say use depending on the stage. Like some stages have tells on where you are, if you're close to corner or not. Like you can use the background to tell you like if you're close enough or not, right? Like I would just use this tree stump. If you're near this tree stump, you know you're gonna make it because the corner's there. But yeah, but that's like a lot of damage left on the table, right?
The dive.
When you find that you're losing neutral to someone a good amount, it becomes more and more important that when you do get those punish opportunities, you're making the most out of them.
Zach now on set point, looking to make this a quick 3-0, saying, listen, I want
Okay.
to see Dragon Ball where you see him. Means we have to get through fast. Amit said we're not doing it at all. I think we have time for top 4 as long as he runs that shit like the Navy, you know?
Okay.
But now we have Coffee moving. Waking up. The beans are roasted.
Oh.
One more touch.
I don't know, bro. I don't like you spending both. I think one is fine.
Waking up. The beans are roasted.
So the reason that I think the second one is bad is because you get no refund and you're not going to kill her. Like you should know that you're not going to kill her on 3 crystals here. And so like if you get in a situation where you need to U bust out, like if you need to U skill, then you don't have it. You don't you don't have it because you only have 25. So
one more touch.
oh, and that drops on top. Oh no, bro. Oh no.
Nice little shimmy.
Okay. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. Okay.
What are we gonna do? Nice. Tries to bait out the
That was good on his part.
Responds with a delayed ultimate DP.
Yeah, flip off the mark. Those definitely a fair few flips. That got whip punished there too. I know that you said you play him a lot, so I think some amount of this is mental block as well. Like I think you maybe don't have the best mindset going into sets against him, but I think like you need to recognize that like what the character can do to you and what they can't do to you at each given time. And like certain things are not as scary as they seem. There are buttons that are really good. Like every character, like to some extent, has like some good thing that they can do, but often it's not as scary as it seems because it doesn't instill a sense of urgency. And the sense of urgency is going to change depending on game state, on resource management, on spacing, on positioning, like all that stuff. And so, like. You don't want to instill that feeling of panic, right? Like you don't want to put that onus on yourself, because if you start panicking in situations where you don't have to, you're going to create opportunities for your opponent where there wasn't one before, right? You kind of do their job for them. Whereas before they'd have to be like, okay, how am I going to open this person up? If you panic and you choose an unsafe option, then they just take a punish. They don't even have to think about it, right? They're like, oh, he just did something kind of silly and I'll just take my punish from there. I think there's a good amount of that. You need to walk more. In general, like this is feedback I would give to damn near every player that plays this game. Walk more, especially just work in walks a lot of places. It's a lot of meter. When your back is the corner and she gives you too much space, advance. Try to push yourself a little bit out of the corner without committing. You want to try to make her feel like she has to either stay on top of you or concede the turn altogether. Because if they back up and give you too much space, they can't cover everything. They actually just can't. There's not enough space. There's not enough space to cover everything. And so you can try a few different things. Definitely check walkbacks with sweep. You don't like press sweep at all, and sweep is quite good. In general, you could work in like some stop shorts into your pressure as well. Most of the time, whenever you're taking your turn back, it's like overwhelming majority 6XL. And that's like okay, but you also want to try to mix in like stopping your movement short and pressing a further normal. You might catch them trying to counter poke your 6XL. Like if I see your 6XL and I'm like, okay, I'm going to 2M and running in, but you didn't actually do the 6XL. You actually stopped and you pressed the button preemptively. Now you're the one that gets to counter hit and not me. And so you could work that into your pressure a little bit more as well. Please do not autopilot jump out of the corner. I promise you, you will die a lot against a lot of people. You might think, oh well, it's fine, I could just change trajectory with flip, but as we know, like you flip in that situation is like not actually that good, right? Like it's 27 frames. It's a fine move, but like there's a lot of options people have to counter poke it. Like I see Tiempo Grease stand jab that shit all the time. People have DPs, people like that. There's just a lot of things. A lot of times it could just miss, right? If they're like moving forward. We saw that happen this set. And so the jumps are very scary. In general, resource management, try to only use meter if one, you're in a situation where the meter does not matter, which like there's not that many situations where meter doesn't matter. Mostly like if you're gonna kill your opponent, like that will matter. That doesn't matter that much, but like most situations in this game, like the meter does matter. And so you want to be efficient. You want to be efficient. If it's not changing a breakpoint for you, then generally you don't want to be spending. Or if you're not answering a specific thing, or trying to instill a certain situation, then like most of the time you can afford to not spend the meter. So that's something to keep in mind. Like there's some things in this matchup that just aren't going to get used as much as some others, because like I said, Yule doesn't have like a fireball or anything like that. She mostly just wants to play mid-range with you, because she has like really good advancing normals and whatnot. But like when she puts you on block stun, like I said, you don't have to panic. Like it's really not that scary. At the end of the day, if you're that scared of blocking something, which to me, the only time you should really be that scared of blocking something from Yule is if you're in chip scenario, then that can be scary. Like even the flip kick is like, it's like, okay, like if I get hit by it, I take a little bit of damage, but I don't get comboed, and then like she has to try to open me up again, and her risk reward is not super great on that. I think the flip kick is just like punishable, isn't it, if you actually manage to block it? Let me check the frame data on that. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I don't run into Yule very often. The 5M unreactable overhead. Yeah, it's -6. Right, it's -6. You didn't block a single one though. That's the problem. Like you say it's high-low mix, but you're not actually like defending the high-low mix, right? So it's like like it's not, it's like a guaranteed hit more than a mix-up in this particular set. Maybe you defend against it better in others. But yeah, like I think sometimes you have to challenge her in that way, and sometimes you have to take a risk trying to defend it. But like I said, at least you do get a punish. At least you do get a punish if you're right. But I don't think you like really try to defend it that much this set. And I think sometimes you have to, like, you kind of want to make it so he doesn't just go into stance and just win the game immediately, right? Like that's what we're trying to avoid. We want to give ourselves more chances to play. If at all possible. Also, wait, hold on. This one's weird. Hold on. Let me check on this one. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why her dust loop like says that, but yeah, look for your guaranteed BCs. Like look for special moves mostly. If you do, the problem is she gets full combo if you're wrong. No, she only gets a full combo. She only gets a full combo if you get counter hit by the overhead, right? So like you could try to like fuzzy it. Like you could try to like fuzzy block it. Yeah, if you get hit by the 2M, but I'm saying like you could try to fuzzy block it. I don't think that mixes same frame. In the slightest. 2M is 10 frames, 5M is 14 frames. That's 4 frame gap. Yeah, so that's like technically fuzzyable. That's that's technically fuzzable. Four frame fuzzy game. 4-frame fuzzy guard is like reasonable. If he starts doing like the lay low and stuff like that, like that's a different story. But for him to do delay low, like he has to put a gap there, and then that leads the door open for you to challenge in other ways, if that makes sense, right? So I would work on that for sure. I think that'll make your life a lot easier, at least against the stance pressure. Yeah, just don't let the fear of 4M dictate your life, man. It's a really good button to be respected, but like, again, it's first of all, it's minus on block, so if she wants to like keep advantage, she has to do a cancel. And like, he wasn't even pressing it that often, right? He wasn't even pressing it that often, so it's like you're letting the fear of that move let him get away with other things. Like if it turns out you're going into the match and he's pressing 4M a lot, and that's a different story. But you need to actually press it all that much. Like in the grand scheme of things, he didn't press it that much in the set because he knows that you're afraid of the 4M to the point where you could be like, well, I could just do whatever the fuck I want, because he's so scared of 4M. He's never challenging. He's never taking advantage. He's never taking space. So like, yeah, there's a difference between respect and fear. I think this has gotten to the point where it's a fear more so than respect for a good button. You never want to let anything get that way.